We are live here on Hot Tag Takes on HamiltonRadio.net, channel HR2. I am your host, John BRECKO. PJ, the song is over.
No, it was still playing. Now it's over. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Yo, PJ Morin is here in the house. How you doing?
What's up? My name's PJ Morin. How you guys doing?
Yeah, like he just figured that shit out.
I did.
I would believe it.
Who am I?
What's your name? Who are you? Where are you from?
Jonathan.
Yo, it wouldn't be the first time somebody I didn't know came into the show.
Huh? Oh, yeah. That was fun.
It actually really wouldn't. It was great, though.
That was fun. That was a fun time.
No, but dude.
Hold on, yo, give me a sec. That Monster
You sound like you're the one that drank alcohol.
No, sorry. No, the Monster Energy Zero is really kicking me, dude. It's fuel for the tank, I'm telling you.
Dude, I'm excited for the guest that we have on, though. What flavor is that, by the way?
Ultra Strawberry Dreams.
So, I just want everybody to know PJ referred to his Monster as strawberry chemo. Right before the show went on
I did not say that. I said that Monster Energy is carbonated chemotherapy. If you pour it into a cup, it literally looks like chemotherapy.
We came up with that together.
Absolutely not. I've been doing that bit on stage for months, you piece of shit.
That's okay.
That's my fucking bit.
But anyways, man, our guest today that's about to come on, I've had on a show one time before.
Oakley Dokes.
Had so much fun talking to this man. But the man that's about to come on the show is a fellow stand-up comedian who's from Chicago. He's toured all over the country and has been the opener for MTV's Jackass Live and has worked with Pauly Shore, hanging with Mr. Cooper's Mark Curry, and NBC's The Office's Creed Bratton, and even former WWE superstars such as Mick Foley and Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, shit.
He's also been in movies and has been a finalist in many comedy contests around the Midwest, including the Jukebox Comedy Tournament in Peoria, Illinois. I butchered the shit out of that. And the Make Me Laugh comedy contest in St. Louis. He's performed in every venue you could think of, from bars to churches. He's a writer, producer, actor, comedian, father. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mike Stricker!
Chicka what? Chicka what? What's going on, big sexy? How you doing?
Oh, man, thanks for having me again, guys. I feel like it's been a couple years, huh?
Dude, I'm so excited to have you. Did I leave anything out? Just let me know.
No, I mean, some of that stuff happened a long time ago, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
It's still cool that people care, you know?
So, before I ask you any of the deep questions, my man right here is wearing a new Hawaiian shirt.
I am.
He feels like he would wear that if he was a dad. So I need to know from you, are Hawaiian shirts the number one daddy shirt? Just curious, because you would know this better than us.
Not for me, but
not for you?
No disrespect towards a Hawaiian shirt. I think it also depends on where you live. You know, like it wouldn't make sense in Minnesota, but maybe in California it would make a lot of sense.
Okay.
You went from Minnesota to California? That's a big jump.
Yeah.
Two totally different places.
Yeah, very different places, very different temperatures. You know, they're two different places.
I mean, I respect it, though. It's a vibe.
I would wear a Hawaiian shirt in Minnesota.
Yeah, no, I would definitely do it, too. Where wouldn't you wear a Hawaiian shirt?
Where wouldn't I wear a Hawaiian shirt? North Korea.
I feel like you would wear it in a cold place just because.
I wouldn't wear it in North Korea.
Not North Korea?
Nope.
I mean, I don't know what North Korea is like. Who knows if they even allow it? Do you think they have Hawaiian shirts?
No, we
don't know much about
That's
it.
the whole point. If I went to North Korea with a Hawaiian shirt, they'd be like, "Oh, marigan."
Well, you're not coming back either way, so.
Exactly.
Hawaiian shirt or not, dude.
That's why I wouldn't wear a Hawaiian shirt to North Korea.
Yeah, man. So how you been, man? Is everything good with you? What's been up?
Good. Good. Just staying really busy with everything going on lately, but a lot of good stuff in the works.
Hell yeah.
I was feeling a little weird with the health stuff for a few months, but mid-February I knocked it out after about 6 months. So I'm like 100%. It feels good. I've got a bunch of shows coming up.
Nice.
I'm in the Alaska Comedy Festival on April 2nd, so that's going to be amazing. So my wife and I are going up to Alaska for 4 days, and it's my 50th state for stand-up comedy. So,
wow.
That's the 50th one?
Yeah, it's my 50th one, yeah. So we
that
saved
is
it for
amazing.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Dude, congrats to you, man. So you've done it in all 50 states as of when you go to Alaska.
April 2nd. Yeah, when I go to Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll be all done doing booked shows, and like open mics don't count, like maybe for people they do, but I'm talking like booked real shows, all 50 states. And it's kind of cool because like it's our 10-year wedding anniversary this year.
Oh,
so
that's
wife
beautiful.
And I get to knock out like the vacation, as well as that.
Nice.
And it's our 5th year as parents. So just a lot of good stuff this year. And
Hell
so
yeah,
that's
man.
great, man.
do that for sure. So
That's all awesome stuff. Are the kids coming too?
no, the kids are staying home, and it's kind of like our first time like going out without them. So they've only had like one sleepover in 5 years. So like, and that was on New Year's Day. And so at first we were like, this is really weird. And then we had a couple of drinks and got some food, and we're like, this is cool, like just having a little break. But they're really great kids, so like it's not a big deal either way. But they're staying with family, so that's kind of weird doing that for the first time.
Yeah.
But it's just, this is like probably a once or twice in a lifetime opportunity. So we had to go for it, and just they haven't flown before, and that's a big expectation for their first flight. So
100%.
yeah.
No, but I mean, that's weird for everybody. The first time you go off, whether it's mom or dad,
Oh, yeah.
or the kids, because I got nephews and nieces, and both of their parents did that for the first time not too long ago, because their kids are like around the same age. I think one of them is like a little bit older, but they're pretty close in age to your guys. So you've been doing comedy for a long time, and you've had a journey with comedy. It's taken you to all 50 states as of April 7th, as you said. When I had you on last time with Darren Silver, shout out to Darren, by the way, we talked a lot about your history touring with the Jackass guys, some of the people that you've had the chance to work with. Off the air, you actually told us about a show soon that's coming up with Preston Lacey. So obviously I want you to talk about the show as well, but tell me how you really got your start in comedy, because we didn't really talk too much about that last time I had you on.
Yeah, so I started in 2012, so I hit 12 years last month, so that's really cool.
Hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
Thanks. And I used to work for a large company that offered movie rentals. I'm not going to tell you the name of the company, but I will say it was not Blue Box. So yeah, it was not Blue Box.
Okay, it was not.
Yeah. And so they used to have like big quarterly meetings, like working there in the late 2000s, early 2010s was kind of like Google. Like anything could happen at work. Like you just walk into work one day and there's just a mountain of Chick-fil-A sandwiches. It's like the end of a Donkey Kong level, but it's chicken sandwiches instead of bananas, or they'd be like, hey, Dave Coulier from Full House is coming by today, and he's going to talk to you guys, and you can all meet him, get his autograph, and there's going to be cupcakes. And it's like, oh, I'm here to work, but that's cool too, Like, so they would
I
do
mean,
stuff
that
like
sounds pretty fucking cool. The Chick-fil-A and cupcakes, that's a combination.
Right, dude?
Yeah, it was a great way to spend my 20s. Like the pay was awful for what it
I'm
was.
sure.
But it was but it was a cool way to spend my 20s while I was kind of, getting out of college, figuring out like life and finances and stuff.
Right.
So they used to do these quarterly meetings, and so I had written some jokes to like do at one of the quarterly meetings. The meetings were like, they were cool. Like they would give away like, tickets to like professional sporting events or like live theater and stuff. So they were always looking for something kind of fun to do to make the meetings more interesting, just because they realized that like, hey, asking like 400 people at the corporate office to come into this meeting is kind of a big ask. So they would make it fun. So I wrote some jokes, and I was going to do them at one of the quarterly meetings, and it never happened. But then on the side, I was doing some like freelance social media work for a local bar that had an open mic. And, one week the bartender was like, hey, like, do you want to try open mic tonight? And I was like, no, I had written these jokes for my job, but I didn't get to do them. So I was like, yeah, like I'll sign up for the open mic. And, it's something I'd wanted to do for a long time, but I wasn't really sure how to get like going with it. Like, you watch TV growing up, you see comedians in comedy clubs, you're like, these people are just really naturally funny, and they put them up at these comedy clubs and they're hilarious. And like, I didn't understand the progression of comedy, like through like the local circuit and the bars and like working up. So, I put out a little Facebook post. I was like, hey, like I'm going to do comedy tonight. And my friends packed the place out, and it was awesome. And, I did my set, and it was awful, like it was
I'm
bad,
sure.
but it was my first time too. Like it's funny because like I think the video is still out there somewhere, and I watch it like once a year just to remind myself.
Just to remind yourself how bad you were at one point.
Yeah, just in case I'm like, hey, like, am I progressing? Am I progressing? Like, I'll watch that.
Oh fuck yeah.
It was pretty rough, but luckily for me, there were like 2 bookers in the room the night of the show, and they saw my friends came out, so they immediately wanted to start booking me for like their shows.
Jumped right on you.
Yeah, so people would come out, and I wasn't even really sure I was gonna like do it after that. But then this guy offered me a show, and I was like, oh well, like where is it at? And it was at this concert venue in Chicago called the Double Door.
Okay.
And I'm a huge music fan. Like I grew up loving music. I was just never good at playing anything, but like huge music connoisseur. I worked at a music store for like 10 years.
Nice.
I worked at a bunch of festivals and stuff, and so like at the time I was like, oh, like it's not just that I'm performing, but like all these like amazing musicians that performed at this place, like the Rolling Stones performed there, like Kanye West, Kid Rock, the Smashing Pumpkins, Queens of the Stone Age, like all these amazing artists, like Corey Taylor from Slipknot did like a spoken word thing there. And so immediately like the fandom hit, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna do this. And I went and I did that show like a month or 2 later, and then it just snowballed, and it's been 12 years. So that's
Dude,
kind of how it started.
I don't think there's a genre that you didn't mention in that list of people that have performed a Double Door.
Yeah,
like you went from Slipknot to Kanye West.
Yeah,
that's something,
awesome,
dude.
Yeah, it is very cool. It's a and the place no longer exists, but they're like recreating it at like a different venue. But that is a legendary Chicago music venue. So it was very cool that my first like real show ever was there. I will always think that was awesome. So
that's the thing too, man. Nobody tells you how to get into comedy or how to get it going in comedy or how it's gonna work for you. There's no real blueprint. So
yeah,
I feel that it's tough to get things going at times, 100%. So I kind of like the connection with like Double Door and everything, and how you started performing there. Because I'm guessing you like grew up in this venue. Like my wife is a big fan of Starland. She's seen so many concerts there. Starland's not actually too far from you.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually pretty close. It's over like Old Bridge area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Starland's pretty dope.
It's like 20 minutes from me.
Yeah, she's seen All Time Low there, and God knows who else.
That's dope.
I've been there a few times. Yeah, so I'm getting like Starland vibes, almost. Although Starland doesn't have comedy shows, so...
I've never been to Starland. I have 0 visual, pal.
You should go.
I'll go.
Wait, Jill, have you been to Starland?
Cool. Like Starland,
Okay.
It could be anything.
Right?
Let
No,
your
it
imagination take you.
Yeah, man. No, 100%. But I like the fact that, you got to perform in a place where you got to see a lot of concerts at. Like, tell me, like, what it was like being on that stage, especially when you got to see it from the other side all those years.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to a million concerts. I haven't gone to as many since I became a dad, but I go to shows. Some of my friends are in some like fairly successful bands, so I try to prioritize going to see them specifically.
That's
like
fair.
when they come to the area. But like for me, just the whole experience of like doing the stage, like being in the green room, like just like the entrance, like all that stuff was just like very cool and kind of surreal at the time. And I've been to a bunch of rock venues I've gotten to perform at where they've done comedy for the night. I'm probably one of the comedians, at least in Chicago, who's done a lot of the rock venues and like concert venues and stuff like that through circumstance. But like every time I walk in, it's like it's always surreal that first time you're at a place, and it's always nostalgic when I've been there more than once. So this is very cool.
Yeah. Why aren't the other comics doing anything at the rock places? You make it sound like you're like the main one doing that.
I mean, I think there are other comics who do stuff like that, but it's intimidating. Like, I just don't really care what people think of me.
That's fair.
But there's a lot of comedians who don't say it, but they want to perform in good situations and good circumstances. Some of those shows at the rock venues could be really tough, but also like I've done so many shows opening for the Jackass guys that it gave me thick skin pretty early
sure.
to comedy. So like, I just don't really care. Like nobody is going to heckle or anything at a show that I've not heard before. I've heard all of it, and nothing is going to rattle me at this point. So I just don't care, so I'll go perform out in front of anybody. And if the crowd's not really into it, you know what? I'll keep a smile on my face as I'm glad to be there and just get through whatever time I obligated to the place and just move on, and sometimes it goes really well. And yeah, sometimes it's a real dumpster fire, but
I'm sure,
just
bombing's the best.
Especially when you're having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're going down with the ship, that's the best.
Like if you could have fun with a crowd that just hates your guts.
Also, you said you've been called all of it on stage. I have a question for you. Have you ever been called the N-word by a white person while you've been on stage?
This happened to him, by the way.
That did happen to me.
That hasn't happened to me, but it happens pretty much every time I'm on Xbox Live.
That I totally believe.
Yeah.
Yo, who was the NBA?
I'm gay and everyone's banged my mom. That's the Xbox trio, right there.
Yeah.
Yo, who was the NBA guy that got caught calling somebody a Jewish like a bad name for Jews?
Oh, the K word?
Yeah, the K word.
The K word.
Yeah, no, he got.
I heard about that.
I forget who it was. I think he was on, if I remember correctly, Miami. I don't remember who it was though. I think his name was like Tyler something.
Damn.
Yeah, no, he got caught saying it on Xbox and thinking nobody was recording it. And then it went viral. People started reporting it. It went all over the place. And he had to apologize for it. Like, it was so bad that people in other sports were, that were of, Jewish descent were like, yo, come to our Shabbat. We'll show you a good time.
Oh, man.
Like, I think Julian Edelman got involved from the Patriots.
Yo, that's really funny.
Like, it turned into this whole thing.
I remember that happened, but I don't remember who exactly it was. It's like, what a weird insult. Like, man, there's so many insults you can come up with like online. People think I'm crazy, but I tell them that on nights where I don't want to go to an open mic or I'm tired or I just like burned out, I work on crowd work on Xbox Live. Like that's what I do. I just practice.
That's fair.
Yo,
that makes all the sense in the world.
I used to do the same thing. I used to do that on Xbox Live, I used to do it on PlayStation. I used to do that on Omegle before it shut down. I was using Omegle the night before it shut down.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, yo, dude, working a sales associate job, bro. You clock
some good work with that,
dude. You clock in, crowd work the entire time, clock out.
What do you think talking to somebody at a bar is?
Crowd work.
Dude, you want to know where I used to get crowd working before I started stand-up?
What?
Like in college by the air hockey table.
Okay.
Dude, you get me by an air hockey table, like, it is over. I'm talking so much shit, bro.
You look like the type of person to get heated over air hockey,
I'm talking
John.
shit. I'm going off. It's over. Dude, the trash is being said. Oh, man.
I fully believe you.
So, I do want you to talk a little bit about the show, obviously, coming up with Preston Lacey, and about some of the experiences that you've had with Jackass, because he's never heard them. Personally, what I want to hear about later on.
Hold the fuck on. I've never seen Jackass live.
No, you've heard. I'm saying you haven't heard of some of the shows he's been on.
Oh, okay. I was about to defend my honor. I was about to say
no. I know you know who Jackass is.
I've religiously watched the movies growing up.
I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because personally, what I want to hear about later are the shows that you've done with Mick Foley and Jake the Snake, because I don't think we got a chance to really talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Steve-O.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Yeah, so I only worked with Steve once, and he was actually the first one I worked with. I worked with him back in like 2014. That was also at a concert venue. It was like 2 weeks before my wedding, and he was cool. And we were supposed to have 2 shows in one night, and they ended up canceling the second show because it was like a low draw. And he was cool, but he was like, "Yeah, you got that voice like, yeah, I'm kind of bummed that the second show got canceled." I was like, dude, I'm a local opener. I got at least 95 people out at this show tonight. I was like, you don't have a local opener in the country who's going to do that. Like the crew came out for it, so we had fun. So I only worked with them that one time. but he's a good dude. I only hear like good things about him from like the other guys in conversation. I don't know, like we don't have a lot of conversations about the other cast members
Right.
unless like they're there. Like Preston's my closest friend of them all,
Okay.
and I could tell like one thing that probably bothers those guys a lot is when like someone walks up, it's like, so hey man, so great to meet you. So you still talk to Johnny Knoxville? It's like, dude, like ask about that person, not
Jesus
like
Christ.
the other people. Like it's so
Yeah,
crazy.
right?
It's just it's
Yeah.
such a weird thing, and I've seen that happen a few times. So like, so I worked with Steve-O first, and then in 2015, basically what happened was I saw that Preston Lacey was coming to do this show in Wisconsin. It was in Janesville, so it wasn't like too far from Illinois. And I reached out to the owner of the thing. I was like, hey, I see you have this show coming up with Preston Lacey from Jackass. I was like, I would love to open up the show. I was like, in fact, I would come do the show for free just for the opportunity to get my foot in. I was like 2-3 years into comedy at the time. I was like, I'll do the show for free, just get my foot in the door. I was like, I got some friends who live nearby, which I did. I was like, maybe they'll come out, it'll boost ticket sales. Like, basically saying what the venue owner wanted to hear, but also like the truth. And the owner replied with, hey, we do not have this show. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, that was not the reply I was expecting. Like,
Of course.
at the very least, I was expecting no. I was like, well, if things change and you do get this show, I would love to come open up the show. It's like a week or two later, the owner messages me back and goes, well, it turns out we do have this show, and someone else who works here booked it, and I had no idea. And then I think he felt bad like telling me that, so he was like, do you want to come open up the show? I was like, sure. And then he's like, do you want to bring like another comic with? I was like, great. So I reached out to my buddy Tim Brennan, who's like my best comedy friend, and we opened the show, and the turnout was like really low for the show.
Okay.
But I hit off with Preston and like his opening act at the time who was with him. And they're like, hey, we have this sold out show tomorrow night. We actually need an opener. Like, do you want to come with? And I was like, sure. So I hopped on the next show and it was sold out. And I had a really killer set. It was good. And we stayed in touch ever since. And so Preston's been my friend for, like 9 years. That's crazy. That's a very long time.
Jesus,
it doesn't feel
man.
like
That is a long time. Wow.
And we've done a lot of shows together. He's taken me all over the country with him. So I knocked out a good chunk of these 50 states with him. Like he took me to a lot of places for the first time. And, he'd reach out and be like, hey, like, do you want to come do this? Like Dave England's coming to town, or Chris Pontius or Wee Band's coming to town. We did a run of shows where it was me and my buddy Tim and all four of those guys. So Preston, Wee Man, Chris Pontius, and Dave England. And it was just like the best time of my life.
Oh,
Like, it was
wow.
so
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Dude, that's a stacked lineup.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like it was just like the most unreal stuff ever. Like it was cool. Like most of the shows were at like venues that I would like bucket list to perform at, and it was just so cool. Like they were all awesome to me. Like everyone was really great, and we all still stay in touch, from time to time. Like they're busy too. Like I don't want to be that weird guy who's like, hey, like what's up? Like
Yeah,
I
of
only
course.
reach out if it's like something worth like like I try not to like force conversation, But yeah, so like a lot of that's gone on over the years. So Preston's gonna be in town in Chicago this week. I don't know. He just decided to come to town for like St. Patty's Day weekend. It's I don't know if it's like a big deal in New Jersey, but like out here in Chicago,
St.
like,
Patty's Day
Patrick's
absolutely
Day.
is.
Yeah, it's a big deal out here. And so he hit me up. He was like, I'm coming to town. And he was like, let's go like just do some casual show on the Friday, which was this Friday. And I already had a show booked because my buddy from Montana is also in town this weekend.
Okay.
And so we had booked some shows, and our Saturday show had just got canceled. And I was like, dude, I can't on Friday. I was like, what about Saturday? And Preston's like, yeah. He's like, if you want to like get something set up on Saturday, like we can do that. And so I put out some feelers to some guys, and within 3 hours we had the show locked in. Like it was quick, And
Beautiful.
so, yeah, and it's at a rock venue out here. It's called Rock House in West Dundee. It's a newer rock venue, but like super nice, like very clean, very cool. Wolf Van Halen just headlined it last year, like sold out. Like they get some pretty amazing like musical acts there and stuff. And so we'll be there on Saturday. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It'll be good to see him. I haven't seen him in a while. And it's the show is called Preston Lacey and Friends. So the idea is that we've had shows where like we've got like the opening acts and people are there and they're just like, oh, who cares? We're just waiting for Preston. And so Preston is like thoughtful of the other performers in the show. And he's like, why don't we do this? He's like, why don't I host the show and then bring up all the comics and do some time in between and call it Preston Lacey and Friends.
That makes
so that
sense.
like,
Smart.
you know, it's cool because then he's infused throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
And people aren't just sitting there waiting for him for the first, you know, like hour, whatever of the show. And so it's pretty cool, like approach. And it shows that like, again, he's been an awesome friend and just cares a lot about the other comics on the show and has respect for, you know, the other comics and stuff. So I'm actually closing that one out on Saturday. So I'll be like up after all the comics are up. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Great.
And then maybe at the end we might do some like silly stunts or something like that. And then we usually do like a meet and greet or like a little like after hang party after the show. So
Oh, dope.
I like it. Oh, dude, that's awesome. But I feel like you had some things to say about St. Patty's Day.
Oh,
Because he started leaning towards the mic. I was like, wait a minute.
oh no, I was just gonna say, listen, pal. Chicago may do St. Patrick's Day big, but dude, New York. Listen, I mean, you saw the sick ginger flow earlier, and I got it tied up now. I'm warming this bitch, pal.
Dude.
But listen, I'm going to the city. I'm doing the same thing. I was 20 last year, but I still got into the bars. Actually, the Irish police started buying me beer last year.
Because he looks like he's 44.
Yeah. But I was dressed up. I had suit pants on, black dress shoes, white button-down shirt, a few gold necklaces, a blazer, and a glitter fucking leprechaun hat. And you know, goddamn right, I'm wearing the same exact shit this year. I'm going into the bars, I'm drinking with the Irish police, and I'm not coming home till the sun's up.
Oh
That's
man.
beautiful.
I'm 50% Irish. This is my fucking day.
I thought you were going to say I'm not coming home till next Sunday.
That too. Listen, listen, sometimes Irish parties go for days. You ever do an Irish wedding? That's like a week-long thing, pal. Maybe 3-5 days.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, my buddies are Southside Irish out here. So I went to my friend's wedding in Florida a few years ago, and it was intense. Like those guys, they drink and they play cornhole, and that's all they do.
Oh,
It was
cornhole?
awesome.
Cornhole's the best.
Dude, I love cornhole.
I
Guys are
fuck with
15
cornhole.
beers in and just sinking every shot, and I'm like, geez, like they could cure cancer. If they really
I
wanted
can't
to.
do that on 15 beers.
On
But I'm
15
having so
beers,
much
I'm
fun.
walking a little funny, but I'm functional.
Dude, on 15 beers, I'm throwing the cornhole backs at somebody.
Yeah, same.
Like,
No, I know
legit.
it's good out there. I spent one St. Patty's Day out in New York, New Jersey in 2018. Yeah, 2018, I was out there. It was my first time performing in New York. My buddy had a place in New Jersey in Jersey City, and so I did the show
Okay.
in New York, and then I stayed in New York for 1 or 2 nights. My friend's band was performing at the Gramercy Theater.
Oh,
So,
shit. I was just
yeah.
at Gramercy the other night seeing a concert, actually.
Yeah, my friend's band, they're like a early 2000s like pop punk band, and so they were at the Gramercy Theater, and then my other friend's band was opening for them, and so I planned the trip to like do New York and do comedy and then go see their show at the Gramercy. And so
Oh, dope.
Oh, that's nice.
my wife and I stayed in Hell's Kitchen the night before St. Patty's Day. And the night before St. Patty's Day was also the show at the Gramercy. So my wife went out with some friends. And then I went to the concert and I got back at the hotel like 2 a.m. Well, at like 4 a.m, we hear the people across from us in the hotel like fighting in the hall. And they're like physically fighting, and it's to the point where like they're slamming each other up against like our door. So like
Oh, no.
I'm about to go out in the hallway and start whooping some asses. And right
Dude.
before I go out, I just hear some guy go, "Hey, I got a gun in the room. I'm going to get it." And I was like, "No." And so like we kept calling the front desk, and they like eventually kicked them out of the hotel. But they took forever to leave. So they were just being loud and shit till like 6 a.m. And so like I'm on like 2 hours sleep tops, and finally they get them out of the hotel. I mean, my wife probably fall asleep for like 3 hours, and now it's St. Patty's Day, and we go to the front desk and check out. They're like, "How was it?" I was like, "It was fine." And my wife like speaks up because I wouldn't. She was like, "Yeah, we were across the hall from that whole thing last night." And they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that." And my wife was like, yeah, is there anything you could do? They took $75 off our bill and then added it to theirs. I didn't even know
Yo! That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was amazing because those New York hotels are like more expensive than hotels in Hawaii. So I was like,
that I believe.
Awesome. But then we went out to this like Irish restaurant for lunch, and then we headed back to Jersey City. And man, we just couldn't hang that night of St. Patty's Day because we had gotten like 3 or 4 hours of total sleep.
You were so fucking
with,
beat.
A huge break in the middle. Yeah, we were beat. So we ended up back at my buddy's place and fell asleep. And then we had to go to the airport and come home the next day. But we know you guys do it up big out there for sure for St. Patty's Day.
Oh, dude, that's a hell of an experience. I love how you were ready to go out there and just fight and just take somebody to the fucking ground. And then right before you open the door, I've got a gun. Nope.
Yeah, I
tuck and roll
for real fast. I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, we're not dealing with this. So,
Yeah, man. Nah, that's crazy. So you brought up a night where there was Wee Man on the show. There was Preston Lacey. There was
Again, that sounds like a sick lineup.
Yeah,
what was it? Dave England and Chris Pontius?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Chris Pontius, I just there was a fluke. There was a fluke with my high school yearbook. But the quote that I always wanted to make my my senior quote was it was a beautiful Chris Pontius quote. Why is it leaving me now?
Dude, mine was
that was intense. Or that was really intense. Well, not really intense, but pretty intense.
I just put on my cap.
Dude, I love that line. It's such a cold line. I love it.
Dude, he had some amazing quotable lines for sure.
Dude, he also had a great slow-mo swinging cock.
Fair.
Dude, when they got that slow-mo camera in Jackass 2 and he just jumps up, just shoo, 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 shoo.
I love how he's just swinging it.
Dude, it was so funny.
Oh, man.
Dude.
I'll tell you about Chris Pontius real quick. Like Chris Pontius, no matter what anyone ever says, Chris Pontius is just one of the sweetest dudes you'll ever meet. He cares about people and he cares about animals and just having a good time. That is him in a nutshell.
He seems like the nicest, most funnest dude.
Very swell.
Dude, Chris Pontius is one of the people. Listen, my dream collab is Jack Black. My dream hang, Chris Pontius is in my top 10 dream hangs, dude.
Dude, you're gonna be so jealous. I opened for Jack Black at one of the Blue Box corporate events.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck, dude. No, you don't understand, dude. My introduction to comedy was as a kid. I would go onto my on demand because it was before Netflix, and I'd keyword Jack Black, and whatever Jack Black movies were on demand, I'd watch endlessly.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
Jack Black looks like PJ Morin ate PJ Morin.
Fuck you. Because but dude, no, I'm so Dude,
that's
Can't
awesome.
you see he's the man? Let me hear you applaud. He is more than a man. He's a shiny golden god.
Here we go.
That's pretty good.
That.
And you came to fucking rock.
And fucking roll
out of control. And then you know you got to rock the block. You fucking suck my fucking cock. Cause when you rule the fucking school, all of the fools out of the jewels. Cause if you think it's time to, if you think it's time to fucking rock.
It was so funny.
He's going.
I did that, and then they were doing like a Q&A with him, and people were asking the dumbest questions. And I was like, I got to ask a good question. I raised my hand. They're like, what's your question? I was like, can dubstep kill the metal? And he goes, no.
Did dubstep kill the metal?
Because it was coming up at the time. And so when they wrote that song, dubstep wasn't really like a thing yet. So I was like, dude, could dubstep kill the metal? And he was like, no. And he loved it so much. Like he knew it was such like a deep question from like a real fanboy. So like it was cool.
Dude, hell yeah, that's fucking
kill
great.
The metal.
Oh, man.
Dude,
I wish I could have gotten to do that when I was like longer into comedy, but that happened like my first like year.
Dude, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
The fact that happened so fast.
The coolest shit I did was in my first year, I interviewed Tommy Chong twice with this fella.
Yeah,
we
that's
did pretty
do that.
cool.
That was the coolest shit I did in my first year, I would say.
You think so?
That is very cool.
And then in my second year, the coolest shit I did, Tommy Chong was my second year.
Oh,
Also, second year's Joey Diaz rolled out to a show I was
That was
producing like
cool.
a month and a half ago, and he did like 10 minutes.
Joey Diaz, they tried to cancel him, they just couldn't do it, man.
Dude.
It's amazing. Dude's a legend.
Dude, Joey Diaz is also in my top 10 hangs and collabs. Joey Diaz,
Well, of course, he has to be.
Joey Diaz and Jack Black are both on a Mount Rushmore of mine.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the Jack Black thing the other day where he covered "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" by Britney Spears.
Dude,
he's not.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So good,
Dude,
He's so good. He could do everything.
Dude, I've been listening to the Pick of Destiny album on like loop for the past week. And I was at work the other morning, like the day it released, and I was about to put on the Beelzebub Boss fight. And I saw the most recent from Tenacious D. I was like, "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" from Kung Fu Panda 4. I listened to it 20 times in a row. I'll be so honest with you.
He's so good. Like that Wicked game cover they did. Oh my god, it gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. He's such a great musician, and I feel like it's so overlooked by so many people in the industry, but like the fans know.
Dude, no,
Like,
he's genuinely. Also, I'm a metalhead at heart. I love all music, but I'm a metalhead at heart. So I grew up with Jack Black's comedy. But then, as an adult metalhead, to see Jack Black's metal and see that he's like he's a real OG metalhead. Like he's a real
He's a real one.
He's a real metalhead. He's a tried and true metalhead to the end of the earth and back. And I fucking love him.
Well, you want to make this full circle? He was in the movie Fidelity, right?
He was in the movie what?
High Fidelity with John Cusack, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And guess in the movie High Fidelity, guess where they did the musical performance in the movie High Fidelity, the actual place. The Double Door in Chicago, Illinois, baby. Oh my gosh. Isn't that crazy?
I was thinking that in the back of my head.
Dude.
Yeah. That is the place they did the filming where
When they were performing on stage, right?
Music. Yeah. That was at the Double Door in Chicago, dude. That's how legendary that place is. So crazy how that came full circle here.
That is crazy.
Damn good podcast. Damn good guest.
That's right.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
I gotta tell him something. I don't know how big of a Sopranos fan are you. Shout out to you for just finishing your scotch, by the way. I saw that.
Oh, thanks.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
beer's up next. Beer and Doritos.
Hell yeah. Yo, but how big of a Sopranos fan are you?
Out of 10, like, oh man, I never really watched it. Probably like a 1. And it's not like a bash it kind of thing. It's just, man, it just never made it onto the screen at my place.
Yeah.
So like, I obviously know it's a legendary show. It's got to be good because so many people have said good things. But I can't call it, you know.
No, for sure. But the only reason why I'm asking that is because you stayed in Jersey City before. I'm not sure where it was. But the diner that he went to, VIP Diner, where they did a bunch of scenes at, that's in Jersey City. That's like super close to St. Peter's University where I went to school. I used to always go there to eat, whenever I had a little bit of extra money and I could go out with a friend. I'm trying to take him there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Because he's a big Sopranos fan and he's got a killer Soprano impression.
Listen, all due respect, it's fucking fun to do the fucking Tony Soprano impression.
I bet it'd be fucking fun to do it in the VIP Diner too. Just how you doing?
If I did the fucking Tony Soprano impression at the fucking VIP diner, I think the fucking place would fall apart.
But it would fall apart in a fucking good way.
It would fall apart a great fucking way. People would be like, holy fucking shit, it's Tony fucking Soprano at the VIP diner. What's gonna fucking happen? Is he gonna get shot? Is he gonna get arrested? What the fuck's gonna happen? I don't fucking know.
Look at fucking Tony. He grew long hair and a beard. He became a hippie.
Yeah, listen, I became a hippie. How you doing?
That's what happened when the screen went black a few years ago.
Now listen, how the fuck you doing? You wanna go smoke a joint?
He put himself in the fucking bathroom.
No drugs in my fucking house!
EJ might
Outside
be
the house,
guy
though.
this podcast,
God damn it,
he's got my
AJ!
utmost respect. This guy's established, baby. That's what's up.
You didn't know I was a Sopranos fan?
Ruben, how many fucking times has he done that impression?
Ruben, how many fucking times have you fucking heard me do the fucking Tony Soprano impression?
A lot.
And now you fucking ask me if I'm a fucking Sopranos fan? Hey, Ruben, are you a fan of being bald?
I'm a fan of your bald fucking head and how it shines in the
What?
light. Where the fuck?
Am I a fan of
Where the
looking
fuck
like
are
a
you
big
going with
red
this?
shiny red light? I don't know if that's racism, but it's Irish Heritage Month, so I'm gonna call that racism, pal. That's fucked up.
You my ginger.
Thank you for not using the hard R.
I put some respect on the name.
I love my man.
You know I got you, dude.
Hey, what's up, Ruben?
Fucking Christ. Look at that fucking hair. Jeff Bezos in the front, party in the
That's
back.
my joke! First you try to steal my fucking monster bit, and now you're stealing my Bezos in the...
You've never called it strawberry chemo, all right?
You're the new guys.
I gave you an
Pay your
idea.
dues.
Dude, come on now. You've never called it strawberry chemo. You know you haven't. So I didn't totally steal it. You know I got you. I
Dude.
gave you ideas, actually.
Dude, I'm not calling it strawberry chemo.
Why?
Because that's too much information for the bit. Monster looks like chemo when you pour it out. It's simple. It's a quick little. It's. I'm getting frustrated. My
Why
shirt's
does it
coming
look
off.
like chemo?
The shirt's coming off. It's that time of the show,
Oh, wow,
guys.
the whole show.
It's coming off.
But hold on.
We made it almost the whole show. We made it almost the whole show with my shirt on.
But hold on.
Now
on.
it's off.
Why does Monster look like chemo?
Because it just does. When you pour it in a cup, it's like yellow. It looks like piss and chemo combined. Bad piss. You got to go to the doctor kind of piss. Like when you wake up in the morning and you pee, and then
And
you
it's
see the
brown.
color, and then you smell that shit, and you're like, "Yo, I wasn't drinking beet juice yesterday. I got to call my doctor." Like that kind of pee.
Okay. No,
Not that
didn't-
I would know anything about that.
I didn't know because I've never peed brown before. So.
No. After beet juice, it's red. Well, no, because I peed last week, and it was the day
Red?
after I had beet. I had a lot of beet juice the day prior, and I peed. It was a little red. I was like, "Am I gonna die?" And then I was like,
That would
"No."
scare
it
the
was just-
shit out of me if my pee was red.
Dude, my shit was red too. I was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
well, not the
no.
shit, but like the surrounding." I was like, "Yo, what?"
The circumference of
The
the shit.
circumference. It was. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good beet juice, dude.
This show went off the rails so fast.
It did. Now my shirt's off, and I'm talking about my red shit.
I'm gonna be honest for a minute, and this is a judgment-free zone. But PJ, you strike me as someone who has a lot of problems.
I don't. Well,
That's why we love him.
I'm not going to dispute that. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not. Yeah.
Listen, he's the only real fucking jackass up in here.
Listen, John, if you don't stop fucking stepping on my shirt, first the fucking Monster Energy, then the fucking Bezos in the front, party in the back,
It's
now the fucking
fucking
Tony
strawberry
Soprano.
chemo.
Jesus fucking
It's
Christ.
fucking strawberry chemo.
John, you're a queer. You're for Noik.
That's okay. If you're saying it, I'm okay with it.
All right, the regular shirt's not coming back on, but this one's coming back on.
That's fair.
And
No,
I'll take what I
so
can get at this point.
so the reason why I brought up the show that he did with everybody we mentioned is because there was a weekend that he brought up last time I had him on, and I'm pretty sure it was that show. Was that the show that was like in bits and pieces? Because I feel like when we talked about that, when it was me, you, and Darren, there was one show like that. So am I thinking of the right show, or?
There's more than one show that actually
Oh, well, I'm
happened,
sure.
so I don't know for sure. It was that in bits and pieces. And yeah, shout out to Darren too. I was like, man, Darren has been such a cool dude to know in comedy. Like, he's connected me with some cool stuff. He's just been a real positive dude and a good dude to know. So, yeah, right on, Darren Fine Silver. Right on.
No,
baby.
he's a good guy. Shout out to Darren.
Shout out
100%.
Darren. Never met the guy, but sounds great.
He's a
actually
cool
did-
guy. He sounds like Jonah Hill prepubescent when he talks on stage, but if you can move past that, he's a pretty good dude.
Okay.
Sounds like Jonah Hill sucking on helium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's real, but like Jonah Hill was like still fat, and he had it. And Darren's got a bigger nose, so
Is he Jewish?
yes.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I was gonna say he would have been offended by the K word we brought up earlier.
What K
Yeah,
word?
no K words, PJ.
No K
Be
words
a
for
gentleman.
What
Just
K
make
word?
fun of his nose.
What K word are we talking about?
Nothing.
Okay.
I don't think he
Pussy.
just wants to get me canceled.
Pussy.
I'm okay with that.
Dude, say the N word live right now. You won't.
No,
Dude, it'll drive up viewership.
dude. I mean,
We need it.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Dude, you know how many people? This white guy from New Jersey said the N word.
Yeah, no, then he'll be famous in Pennsylvania.
Dude, Pennsylvania people won't give a fuck. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's just a word."
Not from what you
like
told
Pennsylvania
me.
people don't care.
Not from what you told me.
Well, no, it depends. It depends where you are in Pennsylvania. Not listening when you sometimes in
Maybe North
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Sometimes in Pennsylvania, you find them real Trumpy, you know, hoot and holler type of people.
That's
Out in the mountains.
That's Hershey, PA. There's a whole different vibe between South Philly and Hershey.
I'm talking like 30 minutes northwest of Stroudsburg.
Yeah,
I'm talking 30 minutes northwest of Stroudsburg. You're gonna hear a lot of N-words from not a lot of black people there.
I feel that. Yeah, I could see it.
Sure.
100%.
So
No,
back
I mean,
so
shit
back
to
to
me,
it,
so-
John. Are you gonna say the N-word and save this show or no?
No, I'm not saying the N-word.
No.
Sorry.
What a pussy.
That's okay. I'm okay with it. I'll take the hit.
Okay.
Hey, I feel like the show doesn't need to be saved. I feel like we've had a good thing going here, fellas. You know, it got weird when you took your shirt off, but otherwise it's been pretty good.
It's my thing. What are you
I
gonna
mean,
do?
he put one shirt back on, just the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
one of them on.
Now
No.
it looks like he ate Conor McGregor.
Nah, but dude,
you know what? I take that as a compliment.
yeah.
It was a compliment. You just need a nice chest tattoo.
I was gonna say you look
I need a good like The Rock tattoo.
you look like Conor McGregor on one of his retirement binges.
Yeah. You look like Conor McGregor after things didn't go your way in the new Roadhouse movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
He looks like Conor McGregor if Conor McGregor went out to Indiana and did a show.
I look like Conor
Yeah.
McGregor if he was a
How
Medigan.
about you?
That's fair.
I look like Conor McGregor if he was a Medigan.
That's fair. No, but talk to me a little bit about the shows you did with Mick Foley and Jake the Snake Roberts, especially Jake the
man.
Snake, because I can imagine it's so much fun with Mick Foley, because I've seen a little bit like of Mick Foley stand up,
Okay.
and honestly, he's just having so much fun,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
just love the vibe. It's just fucking great because of that alone. But
You know what's funny is like I guess when you do these shows, like nobody says that you can or can't talk about things that you see or things that happen at these shows. But I just say whatever I want because I don't care because you can't take it away from me. You know, at this point, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So I worked with Jake before I worked with Mick. You know,
okay. Honestly, I
that
didn't
was
even.
a Scotch and beer burp. Yeah, it was pretty good. Were you gonna say sorry?
No, I was gonna say I didn't even know Jake did stand up before I had you on, and I started like looking shit up. So
So
Joe
I
and Holt-
asked Jake,
Joe
I
Holt
was
did
like,
stand
what
up?
got you into this?
Oh.
I asked Jake, I was like, what got you into doing this? He does like a stand-up like comedy spoken word thing. And this is what Jake told me. He said, I saw a Mick Foley show and I said, I could do that better. And that's what got him into it.
okay. I mean, did he do it better? I wasn't there.
Personal opinion, and I love both of them. Nobody does it better than Mick across the board. Nobody does it better. But Jay's show is very different because the reality is that Jake's had a very traumatic life. You know,
Yeah.
he's had a very dark, serious life. His show is very different. If you like dark comedy, you are
Okay.
probably going to like Jake's show a lot better than Mick's.
Okay.
But Jake was cool. I hope to cross paths with him again in the future. We've done a handful of shows together, and the first show I ever did with him, like we did at actually the first show I ever did with him, we did this like weird collab show where it was him and Preston Lacey from Jackass,
Ooh.
and then a few of me and my buddies opening up the show. So we were all on like the same show together, which was like super cool. It was in my hometown. It was cool, and we hit it off with Jake, and I was like, dude, love to work with you again. He gave me, his manager's phone number, and it was like, yeah, like reach out. And so we booked some more stuff. And so when I started working with him again, the first show I did with him, I was like opening up the show, and he just walked up on the stage and took the microphone from me and just went into his set. No intro, no nothing. And then he warmed up to me after that. And Jake is a cool guy who has overcome a lot.
Yeah.
He paid for all my meals. His rule is no drive-throughs. Like we can eat anywhere that does not have drive-throughs.
Okay.
So I think like the worst meal like we had in terms of like health was like a Five Guys, which really
Okay.
isn't bad, man. It's a good burger.
not
Like they do
terrible.
a good job. It's not terrible, but like it was a lot of like Applebee's or like Chili's where like they can make him like a steak with like some green beans so he can eat healthy, so like he's
Okay.
always just mindful of like eating properly to offset all the other, stuff over the years.
Yeah.
He's a great dude that's been through so much, and it was very cool working with him. I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and Jake is just one of those guys that like no matter where we went, like people recognized him. Like we went out to breakfast one morning, and I picked him up from his hotel. We went to get some breakfast, and we're sitting there ordering breakfast at this place, and this guy just comes and it's like, "Hey, can I have a seat with you guys for a minute?" And we were like, "Sure," because like we didn't know what was gonna happen. And he was just like, "Hey," he's like, "I know who you are, and I know what you've done, and it's an honor of my life that you're here right now." And it was like the owner of the restaurant, and he was like, he recognized him right away, and he was so stoked on like
I'm sure.
Jake being there. And so like we talked to him for a few minutes, and it was really funny because like we were in one of those like tables where it's like a square and it's like 4 chairs all around. Well, right behind me was a dude sitting there in like sweatpants having like breakfast with his family, and he ordered some breakfast item that they actually called the Macho Man on the menu. So when the food came out, like who's got the Macho Man, the guy in the sweatpants goes, "Macho Man," and at no point of the meal did he realize that Jake the Snake was sitting right behind him. It was amazing. It was so funny, and I was like,
That's so funny.
I told the owner, I was like, after this visit, I was like, you guys should make some sort of breakfast menu item called the Jake the Snake that incorporates like a breakfast sausage because it's like shaped like a snake and it's also like a dick thing. Like I thought it'd be really fun.
That's great. I love it.
And like they were super cool, and he comped our whole meal, which is like awesome. Like we still tip because we're not terrible people, but like the next day, and the food was amazing. And the next day, Jake's like, "Hey," he's like, "You want to go back there for breakfast again?" Like they'll probably hug us up. I was like, "Sure."
Probably cop us
We go
again.
there, and it's Sunday morning, and there is a line out the door, and we just walk up, and we're standing there for like 30 seconds, thinking like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't do this." And the owner comes running out and just cuts us in front of everybody. And like Jake was super cool about it. He was like, "I brought some 8x10s to sign for them just as like a thank you, kind of thing." And you could tell the owner was in the corner just calling everybody in his phone books. He was like, "You need to get down here as fast as you can and come meet Jake the Snake." And Jake like signed everything and took pictures, and I just got to eat my breakfast because nobody gave a shit about me,
I mean, that's great though.
Dude, that's so sick.
So I got to sit there and eat, and everyone was like really cool and stuff. And like we would just be walking down the street, and people would be like, "That's Jake the Snake!" Like, holy cow! Like he's still got a lot of star power. Like I think if you see him, you're like he's just got that look where it's just like he's undeniable, like who he is. But like just incredible dude. And then I won't keep you guys like too long with it. I tend to ramble on these things, so I want to tell you everything.
Dude.
Oh no, dude, I love this.
You got plenty of beer left.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of beer left. The Mick Foley thing is crazy. So I started comedy in 2012, and in 2012 I saw that Mick was doing comedy spoken word shows, and I was like, that would be so cool to work with Mick Foley, because if you think about the Attitude Era in wrestling, you can't not think about Mick. He's top 5 in the Attitude Era. Like you got Stone Cold, you got The Rock, Undertaker, Mick's right there with all of those guys. And like he's the first guy to ever truly do like the multiple personality thing and do it well.
And make it work.
Ever since. I mean, just like the Royal Rumble with all 3. He's an absolute legend of the sport, and he's a legend of the sport because he did it in his own way, in an unorthodox way, and not just like, being a bodybuilder like all these other dudes, but like, learning how to take bumps and willing to do anything, just like an absolute legend. Like, if you tell me that Mick Foley is not one of the top 5 wrestlers of all time, I think you're insane. Like he's a top 5 wrestler of all time, like no doubt.
I'm 100% for that. I'm not mad at that at all, especially what he's given, to wrestling.
Yeah,
like I'm not mad at that take at all. 100%. I'm for it.
He's a top 5 wrestler of all time, and so I would tweet him all the time, like 2012, 2013. Like, man, it would be so cool to open for you. So I was a new comic, and all this cool stuff was happening to me. And I was like, man, anything could happen doing comedy. And like, and so I would tweet him all the time. He would always reply back to me. And so in like 2014, I went to a convention in Chicago, and I met him. He was there doing the convention, and it was super early in the morning. I made a beeline to his table, and there was nobody there. And I walk up, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm that guy who tweets you all the time about opening for you. And it's so great to finally like meet you in person. And he looks at me, he goes, hey, he goes, there's nobody like around. He's like, you've got 2 minutes. He's like, tell me some jokes. And I'm telling you, John, like, you know that if someone's like, hey, tell me a joke, like, we don't do that. You know, like, we don't do that. But it's a hardcore legend. You know what I mean?
You did it for Mick Foley.
Right. Like, you do it for Mick Foley. So I did some jokes for him, you know, for like 2 minutes. And he was so kind and just so like just gracious. And he was just like, man, he's like, I think you're really funny. He's like, I think you're gonna be a star. And he was great. And his like manager lady was with him, and he asked her to like take down like my info. And I didn't think like a whole lot of it, you know. And like 2 days later, he's following me on Twitter. And I don't think Mick's on Twitter anymore, but like he's got like, at the time, he's got over 1 million followers, which in 2014 is insane on Twitter. And he follows less than 1,000 people, and he follows me. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And so like, I want to do these shows with him. And we get to the end of 2019, and Jake's manager takes over the bookings for Mick. And she reached out to me, you know, because I'd been doing the shows with Jake. I was like, hey, like, I'm going to be doing these bookings with Mick. I was like, you have no idea how far back this goes, like me wanting to like work with him. And so she was like, let's get some shows booked. So we booked 3 shows together in April of 2020. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work with Mick Foley. No. And then in March of 2020, the craziest thing in the history of the world happened. No. And I lost all of it. My April to June of 2020 was so amazing. There was so much cool stuff on my calendar. I was knocking out new states. I was going to do shows with Mick Foley. It was tough, man. Like, it was really tough.
That's amazing.
Like March through like June of 2020 were very tough like months for me. And it made my skin super thick. You know, like I had to understand that like you just lose everything. And so 2021 comes around, and things are kind of like moving along again, and we get some shows on the calendar. I get 3 shows booked with Mick on the calendar, and I'm so excited. And my best friend from kindergarten reaches out to me. He goes, hey, I'm getting married in Florida. And he sends me the dates of the wedding, and the wedding, you would not believe it, it's the night before my first show with Mick. No. And so it was just so crazy. So I talked to my wife, and I'm like, hey, I was like, I have to go to this wedding. He's been my friend since kindergarten. He stood up at our wedding. Like, I got to go. Like, we had our oldest at the time, so it was like just the 3 of us at the time. And I was like, okay, I got to go to this wedding in 2021. In fact, around the time of the wedding, like our second was just born. And so like now we had 2. And so like I was like, hey, like I know our whole family can't go to this. Like I got to go to this wedding. And so my wife was awesome and let me have an extra day in Florida so I can knock it off my comedy bucket list. And then the next day I went to the wedding in Anna Maria, which is an island on like the western side of Florida. And I went to the wedding. That was the Southside Irish wedding I was telling you guys about. So everyone got lit at this wedding. Like the wedding crashers. I'm sure,
dude.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how I didn't wake up with a worse hangover, but I woke up the next day and I literally took an Uber to Sarasota. I hopped on the airplane. I came home. I saw my family for like 20 minutes, and I drove an hour 40 up to Belvedere, Illinois, and I got to open for Mick Foley. And it was just so crazy how like all that came to.
Shit, dude.
Yeah.
We did crazy.
He was going to open for Mick Foley.
Yeah,
one way or another, hell or high water.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where it was just
make
like,
it work.
You find a way, bro.
And I got to that show, and I'm just sitting there laughing. And, I get into the green room, and Mick is one of the nicest humans I've ever met in my life. And I know I've been saying that a bit on this, but like, dude, you go to a show, whether it be like comedy or music, and you think about what would be your ideal experience as a fan at that event, and Mick tries to give that to every person that comes out to his show.
I'm sure.
He's the nicest dude ever. He's not sitting there chilling before the show. He's signing Saccos and 8x10s so that people who didn't buy the meet and greet after the show can buy a signed item from him that they can bring home.
I have a signed
He
Sacco.
has 3 hours to kill before the show. He's going to the local children's hospital spontaneously, unannounced, just to spend some time with those kids. He's completely giving. He's completely selfless. Like that's who he is. And so I get in the green room, I'm like, dude, I was like, I woke up on an island of Florida this morning. It's so weird, you know. And I'm talking to him, and I told him I told him everything I just told you guys, like about how crazy of a journey it's been. It's like it's 2021. I started tweeting him in 2012, and like how this happened, and like, you know, I think a lot of people see this and like, oh, you can just like do that all of a sudden. It's like sometimes it takes a decade, you know, like it takes a decade. You have to really like commit. Like you had to like commit to it so much. And so I did those shows with Mick and we stayed in touch. And then in 2022, he announced a tour of it's a Steve Miller Band reference, but it's Phoenix,
Nice.
Arizona, all the way to Tacoma. And so we did a bunch of West Coast shows and saw that he was doing some shows out there. And I looked at my calendar, what I had open, and I saw that he had back-to-back nights in like Washington and Oregon. And I was like, I've not performed in either of those states. So I reached out and I was like, hey, do you need an opener like for these shows? I was like, I had a bunch of points. I was like, I can get myself out there for free. And Mick's like, would you be cool with like running the merch table too? I was like, yeah, totally. I would
Hell
love
yeah.
to. You know what I mean? And so he was the one who got me to perform in Washington and Oregon. We did a
Okay.
Tuesday and Wednesday night at the biggest comedy club in both states. Both shows were sold out, and we sold a ton of merch. It was insane.
Dude.
Mick does this thing at his shows where he auctions the shirt off his back and then gives the money to like a charitable organization. And so like every tour, it's like something different. And it's so like one tour I did with him, he was doing for like NAMI, like the North American, like mental, like just like mental wellness. I forgot what it stood for right now. I've been drinking. You gotta excuse me.
That's all right.
But like he like donated money to them because this wrestler had like committed suicide and he wanted to like raise money for the organization. Another time I was out with him, he raised money for the families from that Buffalo, New York shooting at that grocery store. You know, so he's just always finding a way to give back. And we were one of the shows I saw, he got like $1,000 for the shirt off his back. Like he didn't auction the audience. Some guy just threw up his hands like $1,000, gave him the shirt off his back for $1,000.
The man literally gave the shirt off his back.
That's wild.
For $1,000. He threw him in the front of the line for the meet and greet and spent an extra couple minutes with that person, and it was awesome. We are in Portland, Oregon. This dude in the audience gives him $4,000 for the shirt off his back. $4,000. He did an auction at the show. And
Wow.
so that was the most that anyone has ever given. To which
That's
Mick
crazy.
replied on stage, "Holy fucking shit," because he doesn't swear a whole lot. And so like the guy gave him $4,000, and then Mick comes up to me right before I'm doing like the end of the show announcements and goes, "Hey, like that guy, like you could bring him back to the green room." He gave $4,000.
Yeah.
You could bring him back to the green room right after the show. I brought the dude back to the green room away from the audience with nobody looking. He upped it to $5,000 just for no reason at all, and gave him $5,000 on the spot.
This guy thinks he's
for the
Mr.
shirt
Beast.
off his back, and took all the money and gave it to charity and didn't even think twice about it. Just that's the
Wow.
person he is, you know. And so the reason I was able to perform in Washington and Oregon was because of Mick and his manager. They were amazing to me. They were sold out shows at the biggest comedy club in both states on a Tuesday and Wednesday. And you know, like I'm still a moderately small fish in Chicago. At least I think I am. You know, like I get pretty good bookings. I work really hard, but there's so many talented comics in Chicago. But on that Tuesday and Wednesday night, I was like, there's not a comic in Chicago who's got better gigs than me this week. There's no way.
No fucking
you know,
way.
and it's just like happens sometimes. You know, like it was Tacoma Comedy Club and Helium Comedy Club. I got up in front of sold out crowds on weeknights. It was amazing.
Oh, that's great.
And the last time I worked with Mick was in December of 2022. He did a show in West Chicago, which is the name of a suburb. So it's not like just West Chicago, but there's a suburb called West Chicago. For you guys, it would be like maybe Livingston compared to like New York City, you know, where it's
Okay.
like
Okay.
it's a burb, like it's like out of that
Yeah.
like super congested area a little bit, you know. And I started Livingston because my buddy was there, and I know that Stephen Colbert was right over there too.
Yeah.
So we did a show in West Chicago. He wanted to give all the money from the show to this wrestler named John Doering, who had gotten brain cancer for the second time. And so he came and did the show. We raised over $10,000 for John Doering, and was amazing. Like he didn't take a penny from the show. And he comes up to me at the end of the show, and he's got his fanny pack, and he's like, "Hey, let me give you some money for the show tonight." I'm like, dude, I was like, "You didn't take any money for this show?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "This is 20 minutes from my house. Like, it didn't cost me anything to come here." I was like, "Whatever you were going to pay me," I was like, "you either keep it or like roll it in
Hell
to
yeah.
the donations." But I was like, "I'm not going to take any money if he didn't take any money." Like, it just, you know, but
Right.
he's got, like, I go to church, and it's like, he's got a servant's heart. Like, that's the best way to describe McFoley. Like, he just cares
That makes
so
sense.
much about other people. And he's an incredibly generous guy. And TMZ or the internet or whatever can say whatever they want, but like him behind closed doors is one of the most selfless, generous humans you'd ever meet.
I'm sure. Nah, I mean, that's the vibe he's always given me. But I just wanted to say I 100% appreciate you coming on as always. I really, really enjoy when you get to be on the show. I love having you on. I hope somehow we perform together one day, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, dude, if you're ever out in Jersey, I mean, I run a handful of shit, and even if I have nothing running when you're around, I'll have friends that are running shit. Dude, if you're ever out in Jersey, shoot me a DM. I'll find you stage time somewhere.
Dude, let me know. Yeah, I did a show in New Jersey. I did a show at this place called Grasshopper. It's out in the burbs.
Okay.
Probably near Livingston somewhere. My friends John and Jeremy Bernstein, they live in New Jersey. They're two of the most incredible dudes I've ever met. They're in a band called Hello Halo.
Okay.
And they're awesome dudes. And so like I would love to come back to New Jersey. The only thing that sucks is that Southwest stopped offering flights in Newark, so I'd probably have to fly into region
Yeah.
is that LaGuardia.
that
is
is
that the
about a
New York
bitch.
airport?
Yeah, JFK's a bitch.
They do have the
Oh, yeah,
dojo
that
in
would
Newark,
suck.
though.
No, the dojo's
Or
in
am I
Morris
thinking of a
Plains.
different place? Okay. I'm thinking of a
Yeah.
completely different place then. Devil's Den, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
Devil's Den, that's Crescenzo. Love Anthony Crescenzo.
Yeah.
Shout out. I was at his mic last night in Elmwood Park.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, I haven't been out there in a while because like I started getting some momentum with the all 50 states thing, and I was like, let me go get this done first, and I can start like going back to places. And so I'd love
yeah.
to come back sometime, hopefully in the next year or two. But I'll keep it posted.
I mean,
man.
dude, listen,
No, please.
congrats on the 50, dude.
Dude, that's
Yeah, thank
awesome,
you,
man.
man.
One more round of applause for that before we get out of here.
Oh man, that's awesome. Thank you guys.
But dude, have fun at Alaska April 7th. Again, if you ever come by, let me know. If there's anything else you want to plug before we get off the air, please do. 100%.
Hit me up on the socials at Mike Stricker _ on Twitter and Instagram. Mike Stricker Comedy on Facebook. Let me know you found me on here so I know how many people listen.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean,
All right.
we've been getting subscribers left and right recently.
We have been. We've been growing pretty fast. Everyone, you heard it here first. Follow Mike on all of his socials there. John, what's your socials?
John Andrew at 0310 on Instagram, and follow Hot Tag Takes or subscribe to Hot Tag Takes with John, Brecko, and friends. We're trying to get to 600 subscribers within the next week and a half.
Yeah,
We've
we're at
gotten-
what are we at right now?
We're at 565 right now. We got
can
one
make
during
it.
the show, actually.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. We getting there.
Yeah,
Everyone,
man.
You can follow me on my socials. All my socials are Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. All of it is the PJ Morin, ThePJMorin, and my YouTube is just PJ Morin and a picture of me doing this.
There you go. And the problems come back out before we get off the air. But Mike,
I was doing a pog face. It was a meme during COVID.
I know it's okay. But thank you for coming on, man. We really, really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
this is a really fun
Yeah.
show, dude. I'd love to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys. Hope I didn't talk too much, but I've been drinking. That's what you get. So,
Dude, it was beautiful. I enjoyed it.
Jeez,
I enjoyed you rambling. It was fun to watch you ramble.
I love a good ramble. All right, he's playing the music. We're closing off.
Hot Tag Takes. Signing off. We'll be back March 18th on Monday at 12:15 p.m. EST. Tune in.
we did it. Did it.